Hello everyone, I'm glad to see you on the course or discipline Cytology in English language. And today we have the exam about cell. We will talk about structure and classification of cells. Today we have the following goals. First, to study basic information about the structure of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Second, to consider the difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Third, to study the structure of plant and animal cells. And fourth, last, to consider the difference between plant and animal cells. Before we start, let's repeat material about the cell theory. The generally accepted position or ideas of the modern cell theory are as follows. First, the cell is the fundamental unit of structure and function in living things. Second, all organisms are made up of one or more cells. And last, cells arise from other cells for cellular division. The expanded version of the cell theory can also include next position or ideas. Cells carry genetic material passed to daughter cells during cellular division. All cells are essentially the same in chemical composition, and energy flow, metabolism, and biochemistry occurs within cells. Okay, on this slide you can see useful for you material. There are definitions and works. About definitions, the first, basic membrane-bound unit that contains the fundamental molecules of life, it's cell. Unicellular organisms, they are bacterial and yeast. Multicellular organisms include plant, animal, human, also fungi. Invention of Anthony van Leeuwenhoek is microscope. And last ideas about cell of Schleiden and Schwann, cell theory. And you can see useful words for you with translation from Russian to English language. Клетка, cell. Содержать или включать, include. Бактерия, bacterium. Дрожжи, yeast. Крошечный или очень маленького размера, tiny. Кооперироваться или взаимодействовать, cooperate. Наблюдать, observe. So you can review this useful definition and words for you. Okay, let's start new material in the framework of video lecture. Organisms whose cells have a nucleus are called eukaryotes. From Greek words eo, meaning well or truly, and kairon, a kernel or nucleus. Organisms whose cells do not have a nucleus are called prokaryotes. From the Greek words from pro, meaning before. The terms bacterium and prokaryotic are often used interchangeably, although we shall see that category of prokaryotes also include another class of cells, the archaea, singular archaeon, which are so remotely related to bacteria that they are given a separate name. Most prokaryotes live in single-celled organisms, although some join together to form chains, clusters, or other organized multicellular structure. In shape and structure, prokaryotes may seem simple and limited, but in terms of chemistry, they are the most diverse and inventive class of cells. These creatures exploit an enormous range of habitats, from hot puddles of volcanic mud to the interiors of other living cells, and they vastly outnumber other living organisms on the Earth. Some are aerobic, using oxygen to oxidize food molecules, but some are strictly anaerobic and are killed by the slightest exposure to oxygen. And on this slide you can see the scheme which characterized prokaryotes as organisms. Single-celled, enormous range of habitats, and aerobic, excellently anaerobic, with picture, of course. Eukaryotic cells in general are bigger and more elaborate than bacteria and archaea. Some live independent lives as single-cell organisms, such as amoeba and yeast, but others live in multicellular assemblies. All of the more complex multicellular organisms, including plants, animals, fungi, human, are formed from eukaryotic cells. By definition, all eukaryotic cells have a nucleus, but possession of a nucleus goes hand in hand with possession of a variety of other organelles, subcellular structures that perform specialized functions. Most of these are like lives, common to all eukaryotic organisms. On this slide, you can see scheme, which characterized eukaryotes as living organisms. So they can be single-celled or multicellular, amoeba and yeast, plants, animals, and fungi, and human, of course. And on this slide, you can see pictures about eukaryotic cells and eukaryotes as living organisms. About similarity, let's review. Prokaryotes are cells without a distinct nucleus. Eukaryotes are cells with a distinct nucleus. And both types contain DNA as a genetic material, have a surrounding cell membrane and cytoplasm, have ribosomes, accomplish similar functions, and are very diverse. And also, these type of cells have comparison. So, let's consider. First, prokaryotic cells. Most of these prokaryotic cells are small. DNA is located within the cytoplasm. Prokaryotes rarely have any membrane-bound organelles. And last, prokaryotes include bacteria and cyanophytes. About eukaryotes. Eukaryotic cells are much larger than prokaryotic cells. DNA is found in the nucleus. Eukaryotes have membrane-bound organelles such as mitochondria, chloroplast, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, a cytoskeleton of microtubules, and more. Eukaryotes include plant and animal cells, and human, of course, as a living organism. On this slide, you can see pictures which correspond with structure of prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. So you can see similarity between the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. For example, outer and inner cell membrane or plasma membrane, cytoplasm, ribosomes, and DNA as a genetic material. And also you can see differences between these types of cell. Prokaryotic cells include nucleoid, which contain DNA, and eukaryotic cell include not also nucleus, yes, with DNA as a genetic material, and also more organelles, double membrane, single membrane, and etc. For example, endoplasmic reticulum or ER, lysosome, mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, vesicle, and more. The next comparison between animal and plant cells. Animal cells have the next organelles: flagellum, centrosome, cytoskeleton, microvilli, peroxisome, mitochondrion, lysosome, Golgi apparatus, ribosomes, plasma membrane, endoplasmic reticulum or ER, and nucleus. Plant cells have next organelles: cell wall, plasmodesmata, chloroplasts, central vacuole, nucleus, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum or ER, ribosomes, and cytoskeleton. And you can see that plant cells have specialized organelles and structures such as cell wall, chloroplasts, and central vacuole. Keep in mind this information. Okay, on this slide you can see pictures with a simple, yes, and structure of animal and plant cells with organelles, and you can see similarity and differences between this type of cells, animal cell and plant cell. Okay, let's work. On this slide you can see two tests for you, and you need to write these tests in your notebook, and we will discuss about your results and your answers on video conferences. So the test number 1, you need to read the lecture again and find next definitions. First, single-celled or unicellular organisms such as bacteria and cyanophytes. Second, multicellular organisms, plants and animals. The next, genetic material located in nucleus or nucleoid. I think it's not a difficult question for you. And the last questions with scientific organelles of animal and plant cells. The next task about translate the words, about vocabulary of our video lecture. Прокариотическая клетка, эукариотическая клетка, археи, относиться к, сложный или усовершенствованный, сборка, микроворсинки. You need to find a translation of these words and you need to translate this word from Russia to English language. So, there are tasks for you in the framework of video lecture. Okay, we have considered full material about this video lecture. Thanks for your attention and goodbye.